Hi everybody, I'm Philip Van Dusen, and today I'm going to talk to you about 3 different career paths creative professionals can take. So today I'm going to talk about 3 different career paths that you as a graphic designer or a creative professional can take. I'm going to talk about what those paths are, I'm going to define them, I'm going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of each one of the paths. But first I wanted to take a moment and mention that it's a great time to be in a creative career. Design is driving everything. It's driving technology, it's driving innovation, it's driving media. And there are more opportunities and more jobs in creative professions than ever. And there's also more options within those jobs. There's digital and VR and 3D and gaming and media and motion and broadcast and print. It's just amazing. And also the money is better than ever as well if you do it right. The best thing about it is that when you work with clients, I'm always told that working with their designer or their agency is always the best part of their day. So doing this kind of work is really fun. So there's 3 different career paths that creative professionals can take. Number 1 is freelance. Number 2, working for an agency. Number 3, for a company or a corporation. Freelance actually breaks down into 3 different avenues. One is working as a freelancer as an individual on your own. Another is working through an online marketplace. And there's also working through freelance temp agencies. Working at an agency could be working at a design agency, a branding agency, or an advertising agency. And in-house, that's an in-house corporate or company setting. I've done all 3 in my career. I've worked at Landor Associates and Anthem Worldwide on the global branding agency side, and I've also worked at Old Navy and PepsiCo on the corporate side. I've also had my own individual freelance and consulting practice. I've hired designers into all 3 of those career paths, and I've also worked with clients in all 3 of those career paths. I've had good times and bad times in all 3, and my opinion is that there's no absolutely perfect path to take. I've actually taken all 3, and it's really benefited my career. So let me tell you a little bit about those 3 paths. So first of all, let's start about online freelance. And when I say online freelance, what I mean are places like Odesk and Fiverr and Elance. One of the pros of this is that anyone can join, but that's also one of the cons. Anyone can join, meaning there are a lot of weekend warriors and less talented people who are selling their services on these sort of sites. So there's a lot of competition, and sometimes it's harder to find really good people, or if you are a good designer, to stand out from the people who are not so good. One of the cons of this approach is that there's a lot of downward pricing pressure. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of international competition from designers who are a lot less expensive than designers in the EU or in the United States. And so it's driving down the prices of delivering some of this work. There's also a lot of competition because it's so easy to join. There's a ton of people there, so it's hard for a really talented person to become recognized and rise above. Another con about this approach is that you lose visibility in many cases to your clients because the marketplace doesn't want to be cut out of the financial aspect of the process. They make it difficult for you to have a direct conversation or a direct relationship with the client, and therefore it's hard to build that relationship over time. Another approach in freelance is as an independent freelancer. So one of the pros of this is that you're your own boss. It's all on you. And no one is there to answer to except your client, obviously. You can create your own creative vision and your own priorities. And you have time freedom, so you can spend your time the way you want. One of the cons of being an independent contractor or freelancer is that you generally will work with smaller companies at the beginning until you advance very far in your career where as a consultant you can work with larger companies. You need to do your own business development, so you got to go out and find your own clients. You need to manage your own client relationships, and you also need to do all of the administrative stuff that goes along with having a business, from scheduling to finance to taxes to expenses. They're all very time consuming. And it's not just all pretty pictures and design. There's a lot of administrative work that goes into being a freelancer. It can at times be lonely because you're not being exposed to a lot of other people in your field across disciplines or in a working environment. I suggest that it's best to either work on an in-house corporate setting or in an agency or a temp agency setting before you move off as an independent consultant or freelancer. Another approach, and this is one of my favorites for freelancers, is temp agencies. There are temp agencies in New York like 24/7 or the Creative Group or Creative Circle, and what these companies do is they interview and hire graphic designers, and companies and agencies come to them and say, I need a graphic designer, and then they will farm out one of their people to those companies for a period of time, generally longer term engagements. Could be a day, could be a week, could be months. One of the pros of this is that you as a freelancer will get to work with a large number of clients, companies, and agencies without having to commit to a full-time job. So you can see what it's like working in an agency or working in a corporation without making a commitment. It's a great educational tool when you're early in your career. It's also great to build experience and to make a broader range of network friends and acquaintances to build your professional network. You can also work on a lot of different things, so you get a lot of variety in your work and you build a broader portfolio that has a greater range of work in it, which also can be really great at the beginning part of your career. Another great thing is that they find the work for you. So they call you up, say, we have this company that came to us, and they send you out. You don't have to do the business development to find the clients. One of the cons of working in a temp agency is that they take a cut of the money. So you have to actually charge more in order to make the money that you want to make. So they take a percentage off the top. And it can still be a little insecure because you never know when they're going to call you up or want you to go out on something. It's a really great option for more junior level designers who want to get a broad range of experience and exposure without having to commit to a full-time gig. The last con is that if for some reason you find an agency or company that you've been freelanced out to that you really like working with, if they want to hire you full-time, they're going to have to pay the temp agency a finding fee. Or you have to have sometimes a significant waiting period before you can be hired full-time. That's one of the significant cons of doing it this way. But I personally feel like the pros outweigh the cons. The next pathway you can take is working at an agency, a branding agency, design agency, or an advertising agency. Some of the pros of doing it this way is that you're going to learn the business of design. You're going to be exposed to a lot of different aspects of the design industry. So working with account managers, working with strategists, financial people, production, media. You're going to see how clients are landed through business development. You're going to see how they're pitched to. You're going to experience a lot of competition in an agency environment with other designers. And you'll also get some of the best coaching you'll get in your career from creative directors and agencies. So you're going to become better faster in your career. You're going to learn strategy, you're going to learn process, and you're going to be exposed to a nice variety of clients, which can also be really good for your portfolio. It's tough work. It's generally very fast-paced and sometimes very long hours and a kind of sink or swim environment. But the good part of that is that it's going to build credibility for you as a designer if you can swim at an agency, and it's going to be great for your portfolio and good for your resume. Some of the cons of working at an agency are that it can be high pressure, can be fast-paced, and like I said, long hours. It can also be insecure, and this is the most important part. When agencies lose a client, they have to lay people off. So there's a lot of coming and going at agencies. They get a new client, they hire a bunch of people. If they lose one, they lay people off. So it can be an insecure environment to be in as an employee. And the last career path I'll talk about is working in-house at a corporation or a company. One of the pros of working this way is that generally at corporations, the money is the best, then agencies or freelance. There's a great deal of stability, and also the benefits can be greater. You will work with a particular brand or brands in depth for a long period of time, so you really learn about brand development. And you'll also learn deeply about business and brand strategy. Some of the cons of working at a corporate in-house environment is that there can be little or less variety than working as a freelancer or in an agency. You may work on a brand or two over a long period of time. I knew one person who started off their career, and after 3 years of working in their first job, they had worked only on Kingsford charcoal. And all they had in their portfolio was Kingsford charcoal work, which made it very difficult to kind of get that next job. So it can be bad for your portfolio in terms of variety. It can be a little boring for you as a designer if you're working just on one brand. And it can be slower in growing your talent because of the level of competition and the speed of that work. Corporate environments can be more political, so they can be more matrixed in terms of complex and how they operate and how divisions work with each other. In some cases, in-house design departments are less valued than external agencies or external contractors. Don't ask me why. I've been in both situations, but corporations always seem to value their internal people just a little bit less than the people on the outside. So those are three major career paths for creative professionals and graphic designers. The thing to remember is that there's no perfect answer, but also that nothing is permanent and nothing's forever. So you can try one path, and if it doesn't work out or you don't like it, you can always try another. And having variety across those paths is actually really good for a career, because when you go into an agency, they like people with corporate side experience. When you go into a corporate side, they like people with agency level experience. So cross-populating or making jogs in your career path is not a bad thing. And it also is great because it will build your portfolio with a breadth of work, different kinds of industries, different kinds of categories. So get out there, do great design, but also make sure that you take some time and learn about the strategy of design and learn about the business of design. So never stop learning and never stop creating. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video on 3 career paths for creative professionals and graphic designers. And if you did, hit subscribe below so you can see my videos when they come out. And make sure to visit me at my website, philipvandusen.com. I'd love to interact with you on your brand or to hear about your career successes and challenges. And while you're there, subscribe to my newsletter, Brand Muse. It comes out every 2 weeks, and I share insights and trends and methods in graphic design and branding for creative professionals and entrepreneurs. And with that, thanks again for watching. Bye for now.